reality is a lot of us are ingesting an awful lot of data. Let's use email as an example. And we're trying to evaluate potentially tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or even millions of emails each and every day. So an example here of using content analytics is something that's able to rather quickly with information in flight into a repository, be able to identify the source of that information, the format that that information is in, the date of the actual record or the last changed of that record, who's mentioned in there, what organizations are mentioned, this kind of information. Doug introduced you to the concept of not just keyword indexing, but evaluating information in context. So this is actually doing analytics on that information in its intended context. Going back to his analogy of the two emails, from the same individual to the same individual, same keywords, but how do I know one's a business record or isn't? It's using contextual analytics to achieve that, so that I can store those entities and I can actually do some extraction of it and then also do some searching on that. Once again, the whole concept of conceptual searching, not just traditional keyword searching. Here's an example of an appliance-based solution. The ability to literally plug and play, if you already have some rules installed in it, a solution that gives you the ability to analyze information from many different sources, analyze that information in place. Okay, I don't need to move it into a repository in order to be able to classify that information. I can analyze that information right where it is. But yet, once I've crawled that information, indexed that information, stored the built metadata where there previously wasn't any, I'm now able to do some searching and reporting on that information and then make some responsible decisions, which may include moving it to a secure repository if it requires retention, and applying the appropriate retention rule. Another outcome could possibly be if that is not a business record, it's a convenience copy, like that email example that Doug showed you earlier about a neighborhood barbecue. I don't want to keep that in a secure repository. I don't want to apply retention rules to it. So I can make a decision about defensible decommissioning of that information in place. You'll notice I use the term decommissioning, not disposition, because it's not in a formal records management system yet. I made that decision based upon my retention rule, and how this technology does that will become more evident to you in one of the upcoming slides. But once again, tools like this can be pointed at anything. Technology that IBM has, technology EMC has, and some of the other vendors here. So it's not just one vendor or one type of technology. So once again, how the technology works in the context of evaluating information in place. I crawl that information, I build an index, I'm building metadata once again where metadata previously didn't exist. I'm then able to make some responsible decisions about classifying that data based upon metadata, the keywords, the content in context once again, and then searching on that information, trying to determine how did information end up in certain logical buckets, okay? It begins to catalog information and put like information in the same virtual bucket. I'm then able to report on that information so that I can then compare it to our retention schedule that's in line in this whole process. So I'm then able to perform actions such as moving this or copying this information or deleting this information. And I can also do that based upon our existing policy, our whole information governance program. These things can be done on a one-time basis, a reoccurring basis, what have you. If you do this correctly, you might be able to get by with just doing it one time and then instituting that inline capture and analytics on new information going forward. Customers who have implemented this technology are seeing return on investment as little as 3 months. People are going on to actually justify their entire information governance program or RIM program based upon the return on investment they're getting just from storage cost reductions. Wouldn't you agree, Doug? Your customers, I'm sure, are seeing the exact same. So there is tremendous value here in this technology to help you deal with legacy information and help you reduce that storage burden. Here I work for a storage company, and I'm telling you how to reduce your storage costs, okay? There'd probably be people that say that's heresy, but